Buenas tardes a todos y todas. Mi nombre es Josefina Garrido, soy instructora de los programas del Arte de Vivir y tuvimos esta idea en equipo, estamos con Sergio de la Mano, Tommy Todoli, muy lindo equipo, trayendo entrevistas alrededor del mundo. Ya que estamos en cuarentena y cada uno está en su casa, ¿por qué no visitar personajes fascinantes de alrededor del mundo? Hoy con nosotros está Susan Hindle, que ella es instructora del Arte de Vivir, tiene muchísima trayectoria en las fundaciones, alguien muy admirado por mucha gente, yo me incluyo en la lista de fans, y ella va a estar contándonos un poco de su vida, de Inglaterra, de cómo fue su camino en esta fundación, y bueno, sin más que decir, vamos a entrar en contacto con ella. Hello, Sue.
Hi, Josefina. Hello, hi.
Hello, hola, dice.
Hola a todos.
Is your camera on?
Yes.
Sí. Yes, yeah. I can see you.
Sí.
Okay. So basically, I was talking to the people about you, and first of all, I want to know who is Susan Hindle? Speaking like we said a lot about you, that you have like this also amazing career in your life of being a British lawyer. I want to know first of all about this aspect in your life. What can you share us? Acá le estoy preguntando a Susan sobre su vida como abogada británica, para empezar un poco a que nos cuente de ella.
Being a lawyer, well, somehow I drifted into law after I left school. I did a law degree, and then I didn't know quite what to do next, so I thought if I had a law degree, I should become a lawyer. That seemed sensible. And
acá Su nos cuenta que, bueno, cuando terminó el colegio quería hacer quería probar a ver qué tal hacer un título de abogacía. Dice, bueno, creo que esto es lo que va para mí, así que se dedicó a eso. Yes.
And basically, for me, it was a good choice. I loved it. I was a lawyer I was working as a practicing lawyer for 32 years.
Yo trabajé como abogada practicante por 32 años. Yes.
And I'd say the first 15 years were fabulous.
Los primeros 15 años fueron increíbles.
It was a lot of fun.
Muy divertido.
Because the kind of law that I liked to do was what I call people law.
Yo hago una ley que se llama ley de la gente. A mí me gusta llamarla así.
High street law. Just working with ordinary people with ordinary problems from ordinary lives.
Trabajando con gente ordinaria, de problemas ordinarios, o sea, más como cotidiano, no como ordinario para nosotros.
So I did a lot of crime. I went to court, and then I did many years as a divorce specialist, family divorce, that kind
hice mucho de lo que es la parte penal y también me dediqué a lo que es familia y divorcio. Yes.
And then also a lot of accident claims and industrial injuries and employment disputes, and just the sorting out the problems that ordinary people had every day, ordinary things. And
y hice un montón de lo que es ley civil y cuestiones laborales y de empresas, como me dediqué a la abogacía en el aspecto más básico, digamos, para accesible a todo el mundo. Yes.
And that was very fun. That was a lot of fun and very interesting and very demanding. So that was great. And so I started that, I'm qualified in my early 20s. And then I worked for 32 years doing that. And I really enjoyed being in court and working with people in all sorts of crazy situations.
La verdad que disfruté mucho trabajando por este tiempo. Empecé a los 20 y estuve 32 años haciendo esto. La verdad que viví situaciones de las más locas. Yes. Which kind of situations, for example, like anyone you want to share? ¿Qué tipo de situación alguna? que nos quieras compartir.
Well, in those days, things were very, very informal. And actually, I was one of the first women to combine a career with being a mother.
Bueno, en esos tiempos, ella dice, era todo más complicado. De hecho, fui una de las primeras mujeres que combinó mi carrera de abogacía con ser mamá.
So in 1981, when I had my first child, it was...
En 1981, cuando tuve mi primer hijo,
people usually gave up work, but I found a way to maybe work fewer hours, but also to look after my son. And so I did both. I worked and looked after my son. So I worked when he was asleep, you know, files and dictating and all of that, and phone calls when he was asleep or playing, and if I had to go to court or see clients, either my parents took him or even the secretaries in the office looked after him.
Wow. Ahí dice ella que, sorry, el translate, que ella incluso se encontró mañas para trabajar con su carrera de abogada, como que aunque su hijo era chiquito, encontraba quien lo cuide, o trabajaba a la noche cuando él dormía, o incluso a veces lo llevaba a su estudio y lo dejaba que las secretarias lo cuiden, pero se encontró la manera de seguir trabajando y no parar con la maternidad. Oh, I admire you.
There was one day when I had him with me, and we had a court hearing in the afternoon, and the case had been agreed, and so basically it was much more convenient for me to see the judge in the morning. So I took my son Robert, and I took him before the judge. So I went in, knocked on the judge's room door, and I went in and I sat my child on the table and had all my file and my papers and did the whole thing with the baby there. and the judge was absolutely fine with it. And then I finished it, and then I picked him up and off I went.
Ok, ahí me está contando una historia muy graciosa que dice que una vez ella tuvo que ir incluso a una audiencia con un juez y no tuvo otra que llevar a su hijo chiquito y lo sentó en la mesa y sacó todos los papeles y empezó a mostrar los papeles y todo delante del juez. Dice que aún así lo pudo resolver.
And another funny occasion.
Y otra situación divertida.
I received a phone call at about 7 o'clock in the morning from
recibí una llamada a las 7 de la mañana.
A lady who was my divorce client.
Una cliente de que quería divorciarse.
But she had the police at her house.
Que tenía la policía en su casa.
And the police had come to arrest her son.
Y la policía había venido a arrestar a su hijo.
And she called me in an absolute panic.
Y me llamó, estaba en pánico ella.
And at this point, I had my second child, my daughter, but she was just a tiny baby, and she was being.
Y en ese momento ya había tenido mi segunda hija, que era un bebé apenas.
So I had to grab the baby, jump in the car, drive to this house.
Entonces agarré el bebé, lo puse en el huevito, me manejé hasta la casa de la clienta.
And the house was full of police.
Y la casa estaba llena de policía.
So I had to go in with the baby and go in and say, hello, everybody. Now, what's going on here? Tell me what's happening. I'm her lawyer, blah, 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 blah. And I've got the baby.
Entonces dice que...
And then...
Que llegó con el bebé cargando, decirle a todos, por favor, soy la abogada acá, la señora, hablando con la policía y eso.
And then the point came where the baby was hungry and needed feeding. So I had to put the baby under my jumper.
Que el bebé tenía hambre y tenía que dar la teta.
And talk to all these policemen and talk to the woman and do all of this, managing the situation with the baby plugged in.
Dice que hasta logró manejar la situación con el policía, con la mujer, con todo, mientras el bebé estaba tomando la teta.
So,
wow, marvelous.
So those were two funny occasions, but look, we had a lot of fun, and it was great. But then, you know, you can do anything for too long, and And also,
Así que bueno, dice ella, me divertí mucho y podés hacer cualquier cosa que ames.
it got much more bureaucratic and boring. And so the last few years were much less interesting. I didn't enjoy that work so much. And I was very, very happy when I was ready to have a change. That was good.
Okay. Y dice que entonces durante los últimos años como que la abogacía se fue tornando más burocrática, más aburrida para ella, así que empezó a notar que necesitaba un cambio. Okay. And how did you find that change? What was it? Can you tell us?
Yeah, well, basically I was completely ready to change.
Me sentía lista para cambiar.
Look, I worked very, very hard for all
Trabajaba muy duro.
And I was the main wage earner in our family. My husband wasn't earning much or at all.
Mi marido no estaba ganando mucho.
And then we were divorced and I was on my own, but I still had all the responsibility for the children and their education and all that.
Y después, bueno, se dio que nuestra pareja no funcionó, vino el divorcio y tuve que hacerme cargo de manejar todo lo que era la familia, mis hijos.
But then when my youngest son finished university and I could stop paying.
Y bueno, y cuando llegó el momento que mi hijo mayor terminó su universidad y pude dejar de pagar,
it was time to make a change.
Decidí que era hora de hacer un cambio.
And basically, Gurudev offered me the opportunity to become a silence course teacher.
Y en ese momento fue que Gurudev o Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, que es el fundador del Arte de Vivir, me ofreció hacerme instructora de cursos avanzados de silencio.
And so I retired from the law and I became a full-time traveling teacher, international, contracted to our international organization. So after 32 years in an office, I was at last able to go out and travel. I always wanted to travel more. I longed to travel. And so that I've been 12 years now doing this, and it's been fabulous. I've traveled all over the world.
Y a partir de ahí que ella decide hacer este cambio y la convierten en instructora avanzada, la fundación la contrata para que dé cursos internacionales alrededor de todo el mundo. Así que ella dice que fue un cambio fantástico para ella y bueno, está muy feliz en este momento. Talking about... Yeah, sorry.
It's as if I had two lives.
Es como si tuviera dos vidas.
I had one life as a lawyer and with the family and all the rest of it, and then I've had another life.
Como que tengo una vida que es la abogada, la que es mamá de una familia. Y
and now another life as an international, senior international traveling teacher for Art of Living, and it's completely different. Totally different.
Tengo otra vida como una instructora senior del Arte de Vivir que viaja internacionalmente y son vidas completamente diferentes. Yeah. And why Art of Living? How do you get in touch with Art of Living? How was the beginning of this? Ahí le pregunto cómo ella conoció el Arte de Vivir, cómo empezó.
Okay, so for that we have to go right back to the beginning, right? When in 1979, that was when I did my first meditation. So basically, when I again was in my early 20s.
En cerca de los 20 años, más o menos, en el 79.
Basically, I had a lot of questions in my mind, and I had some very, if I say, strong experiences, things that I didn't understand, very strong feelings, sensations inside
tenía como sorry, yeah.
I didn't know what they were, and I was curious, and so I asked somebody, what's this? He understood a lot about meditation and spiritual things and stuff, and I said, what is this that I'm experiencing? I don't understand. I asked him that question.
Entonces, ella le pasó que cerca de los 20 años más o menos empezó a tener esta situación de sentir que había algo más en su vida, como un montón de preguntas y respuestas, y dio con alguien que sabía mucho de espiritualidad para preguntarle cómo acallar todas esas inquietudes. Yes.
So he said, well, I don't know, but I think you should try meditation.
Así que él le dijo, no sé, pero creo que deberías empezar la meditación.
And so I went to the local library and I took out a book on meditation.
Así que me fui a la biblioteca y busqué en un libro meditación.
And it was about TM, Transcendental Meditation. It was in
Y
1970,
hablaba
a long time ago.
de meditación trascendental, que es una técnica que se enseña hace mucho tiempo ya. Yes, we know it also.
Yeah, 41 years ago. And so I was impressed by this and I learned to meditate. I got the
Así
TM.
que me impresionó mucho leer sobre esto y empecé a meditar. Así que así comencé con meditación trascendental.
And this worked for me really well.
Y esto funcionó bien para mí, la verdad.
And in time we went on to do more and more with the TM organization, and our children even went to a TM school.
Ah, your children?
Yeah.
Wow. Y me involucré demasiado con la meditación trascendental, incluso en Inglaterra mandé a mis hijos a escuelas que estaban involucradas con meditación trascendental.
But then at one point things with TM became difficult. There was a political story going on and it was all a bit confusing. And at that time, there were a group of people within the TM organization who had heard all about Art of Living in Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. And they told me about it.
Ok, entonces dice que en ese momento empezó a haber como unos conflictos políticos dentro de ahí de meditación trascendental, que ella estaba involucrada en Inglaterra, y unos amigos le empezaron a hablar de Sri Sri Ravi Shankar y la fundación El Arte de Vivir.
And so there was a friend of mine, she said, look, Sue, there's this new thing come, it's called Art of Living. There's breathing and there's this and there's that, and it's amazing. And there's the Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, he's a guru and all the rest of it. And I said, no, thank you. No,
y ahí me empezaron a decir como vamos, vení a esta fundación El Arte de Vivir, está este gurú Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, y yo lo primero que dije fue no.
I had enough of gurus, thank you very much. No
mucho gurú, gracias. Ya tuve mucho.
But this friend didn't give up. She kept pushing me. Come on, Sue.
Esta amiga no me dejaba en paz, me seguía pinchando, como dale, vamos.
In the end, all right then, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. Yes, I'll do it.
Entonces, bueno, dale, sí, está bien, basta, voy.
And it really, it was brilliant. It really worked for me, and it filled in gaps. For me, it filled in gaps that were missing from the TM organization. It gave a whole lot extra and more. It was much better for my heart.
Wow.
And it was much
more para mí fue como rellenar cualquier tipo de vacíos que todavía sentía que tenía con la meditación trascendental. Fue como algo muy bueno para mí, para mi corazón.
So for me, this change worked. And
este cambio funcionó.
And so that was in January 1994.
Eso fue en enero del 94.
So what's been important for me is that basically I've been doing meditation and yoga and breathing and all of these practices. I've been doing them throughout my adult life. I started at the very beginning, just when I'd qualified as a lawyer. That's when I learned to meditate, when I was still very young. I was married, we hadn't got children, we both did so basically I've lived all of my adult life, all these 41 years, and there've been a lot of difficult times, a lot of fabulous times, and I've been a mother, and I've been working, and all of this, and all the way through, it's been the practice and the meditation and the breathing and the yoga and the wisdom, the whole thing as a package that has brought me it's brought me through to where I am now, frankly. So
Y dice que entonces ella fue como una afortunada porque desde sus 20 años, toda su vida adulta, estuvo con estas herramientas. Ella inició en el arte de vivir cuando se recibió de abogada, entonces atravesó todo, su carrera, su matrimonio, sus hijos, hasta hoy, que ya son 40 años en la fundación, 40 years, dice, since you started? No.
41 years since I learned to meditate.
41 años desde que ella medita, hace yoga, respira, y bueno, acá está, haciéndonos reír. And here you are making us laugh. I love you.
So,
bueno.
Yeah, so as a teacher,
entonces como instructora,
as a silence course teacher, what I really focus on
en lo que realmente me enfoqué
is making the knowledge and the practice and the wisdom accessible for everyday life. I really, because I've worked with it so long, it's no longer, they're no longer esoteric concepts for me. They're practical techniques and realities. So I like to give people a bit of my experience and how, if they're in this trouble or this difficulty, how they can use the knowledge, the wisdom, the practices, and explain to them how this works for them on an everyday basis in an ordinary life. Because that's what
entonces me gusta a mí, lo que me gusta el arte de vivir es poder compartir a través de mi experiencia y de estas técnicas y de estas prácticas la manera en la que las personas pueden como vivir una vida más feliz y
something that's been very important for me as a teacher.
Algo muy importante para mí como instructora.
Is that I've taught this, like I said, all over the world, right?
Ya les dije que viajé por todo el mundo, ¿verdad?
So I've taught in Pakistan.
Estuve en Pakistán.
And in Morocco.
Y en Marruecos.
And the West Bank of the Jordan.
Y en el oeste de Jordania.
Yeah. These are very Islamic countries.
Son países muy islámicos.
I've taught in Israel.
Enseñé en Israel.
With a very Jewish group. You know,
con un grupo muy judío, digamos.
I've taught in Ireland and other very Roman Catholic countries.
Y enseñé cursos como en Irlanda, que son católicos romanos.
And I teach secular people.
Y a gente secular.
And also atheists.
Y a ateos también les enseñé cursos.
And what I see with everybody,
y lo que pude ver en todos,
is that it really works for everybody.
Es que realmente el arte de vivir funciona para todos.
Regardless of their belief system.
Sin que importe en qué cree cada persona.
Or their culture. Or their
o qué cultura sea.
Whether they're leaders of society.
Ya sean líderes de la sociedad.
Whether they're prisoners or unemployed. Or whatever.
O prisioneros o desempleados o lo que sea que sean.
It doesn't matter.
No importa realmente.
And it brings everybody together, because what it does is it gets people in touch with their essential humanity.
Porque lo que hace es que la gente conecte con esa humanidad esencial.
It takes us to a level of ourselves which is far deeper than any of those religions or identities or nationalities or whatever.
Nos lleva a un nivel esencial que es más profundo, que excede cualquier religión o nacionalidad o raza o lo que sea.
So I've really seen that this is something that can really bring the world together. It really breaks down all those artificial differences which cause the all the conflict and tension and wars and trouble and blah blah blah. You know, this really can be a solution to so
Y
many of
descubrí cómo esto realmente puede ser una solución para todas las personas que sufren, incluso situaciones como guerras o tsunamis o desastres naturales, lo que sea. Yo estuve ahí y vi como sí es una solución.
And I've seen it. I know it to be true. I absolutely know it. No doubt.
Estoy totalmente segura de que funciona y de que es verdad. Lo vi, sirve para todos.
And if you remember, I'm a British lawyer, right?
Se acuerdan que soy una abogada británica, ¿verdad? Yes.
Okay, I judge a case upon the evidence.
Yo tengo que juzgar el caso basada en la evidencia. Así que
the evidence to me is absolutely compelling.
Y la evidencia para mí está absolutamente confirmada.
No question, it works.
No es ni siquiera cuestionable lo mucho que funciona esto. Okay. Oh, sorry. I want to wait, I want to see. Yes, here it says if we can speak a little bit about the let's speak about England. England. Right. We don't know much about England. Let's talk about it, because if we say about England, we think Pride and Prejudice, we think about the Queen, the breakfast tea, you know, we have all these, and Beatles, you know. Le estoy preguntando ahora por Inglaterra. ¿Qué nos puede contar de Inglaterra? Porque en la cabeza nosotros tenemos la reina, el té de la tarde, Orgullo y Prejuicio. And here also I would like to show some pictures. Can I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So
okay.
You put the pictures up and then I'll tell you. You tell me what you want me to talk about and show me pictures and I'll
Okay. Yo ahora lo que digo es que quiero mostrar unas fotos, y en particular quiero mostrar dónde vive Sue, porque me encanta dónde vive, y I'm a huge Jane Austen fan, so I want to show also like how is your home.
Okay. Right.
So yes, esta.
That's my home.
Esta es mi casa.
I live in the country.
Yo vivo en the
country. And that house is about 250 years old.
Y dice que esta casa tiene 200 años desde que fue construida.
And you see all this glorious stone. Go back to the house again, Josefina.
Okay, I'll go.
Go back to the house.
Yes.
Here I am. And you see all that stone there?
Sí, ven todas estas piedras de esta casa.
This house, the walls are 2 feet thick. So that's 2/3 of a meter thick. Yeah, right. They're this thick. Can you see my hands? They're that thick. Right?
Que tienen, dice que los muros son tan anchos, tan gruesos. Ahí mostraba ella con las manos, como súper gigantes. Yes.
And that stone,
y esa piedra,
was taken from the ruin of an ancient castle.
Fue tomada de la ruina de un castillo medieval.
That was destroyed in the Civil War in 1643, I think it was.
Que fue destruido en la guerra civil de 1643, creo que fue. De ahí sacaron los ladrillos con los que construyó su casa.
The castle went under siege, and it lost, and then the king destroyed it, and they had a pile of stone, and they built my house amongst others from this ancient stone. There we are.
Wow. So you needed to pay a lot for it, or how did you got them?
I'm in the country, so no, I don't. I didn't pay a lot for it. It's in the country. It's not in the city. No, I did very nicely. I moved from the south of England to the border with Mid Wales. This is west of this is on the border with Wales and Shropshire and Herefordshire, west of Birmingham, about 2 hours.
Okay. Ella dice que está al oeste de Birmingham y que está en el límite con Gales. Ahí está su casa y bueno, de ahí consiguió los materiales. No le fue complicado conseguir estos materiales. Also, I see that you love to do arts, right? Que le gusta hacer huerta.
This is lockdown, you see. You wanted me at one point to talk about lockdown. So basically, I've been traveling for 12 years, okay?
Toda mi vida estuve viajando y viajando y viajando por 12 años. Y esto que estábamos viendo ahora es lo que ocurrió en ella con el confinamiento por el COVID. Yes.
So finally, I got to stay at home for a little while. Yes, I could stay at home.
Así que finalmente me tocó quedarme en mi casa por un tiempo, ella que está acostumbrada a viajar. Así que
So
sí, dice, lo pude.
So I planted some vegetables.
Así que planté vegetales.
So these are potatoes in the front, and then there's
papa,
and then there's different beans in the back.
Y hay diferentes frijoles para atrás.
And there's some mange tout peas and things in the further back.
Bueno, y hay otras cosas ahí atrás que no entiendo.
This picture must have been taken in about early May, because I tell you, they're much bigger than that now. It's crazy now.
Ahora están mucho más grande que eso, dice.
And then this, look, this is a picture that I had like a conservatory, a glass extension put on the side. And I sit and go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Hice como esta extensión de la galería para que poder disfrutar más la luz del sol y ahí pusimos este vidrio. Yes.
And so this is the view from the seat where I meditate.
Esta es la vista que tengo cuando medito.
Looking up across the garden. That's my garden you can see in the background.
Este es mi jardín, lo que pueden ver ahí. Así que veo eso. Over there you have your breakfast tea.
Yes, actually, yes, I do. Absolutely.
Y ahí dice que ahí ella toma su té. Esperen que quiero buscar el videito. I want to look for... I'll stop. Yeah, until I found out the video. And yes, let me know also about England. Because if we think about England, we think about like polite people, like really correct, not so warm and hot, like Latino hugging kind of stuff that we are. Like this Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy, something like that, you know? Are you like that? Ahí le estoy preguntando qué es la gente en Inglaterra. Yo en mi cabeza tengo este concepto de como orgullo y prejuicio, todo alejado, todo correcto, todo con esos modales. Yes.
Yeah. There have been many changes in the UK.
Ha habido muchos cambios en el Reino Unido.
Over the last 50 years or so.
Por los últimos 50 años, más o menos.
Even in my lifetime, everything has changed.
En mi vida, todo cambia, todo ha cambiado.
So, we're a very multiracial, multinational, open society now.
Ahora somos un país que está muy abierto a la sociedad, es multirracial.
You know, there's many places in the UK where I can go walk down the street and I feel I can see I'm the only English person there.
Y acá mismo, en el Reino Unido, en Inglaterra, hay muchos lugares donde siento que voy en la calle y soy la única inglesa en la calle. Tanta diversidad que hay.
Particularly in the cities.
Particularmente en la ciudad, dice ella.
But there are also areas where it's still much more like it was when I was growing up. Where I live now is very much more traditional English. The funny things that we do, that we've always done.
A donde vivo hoy es más tradicional, dice, inglés. I want to show now, I found it, the video of, sí, miren todos, que necesito que vean, esta es la vista de el día de la noche de la luna llena. Así veía ella desde, escuchen esto.
Okay, hold it a second.
Eso ve ella, digamos, desde el jardín de su casa. I can see Mr. Darcy coming walking over there and saying, I love you, you know, that part of the movie.
Well, yeah. This
Okay. Le digo que eso es muy para mí lo que es Orgullo y Prejuicio y la parte de la película.
That was 4 o'clock in the morning.
Eso era a las 4 de la mañana.
Full moon in June.
Luna llena en junio.
Out of my bedroom window.
Afuera de la ventana de mi habitación. Wow.
But you heard the birds. We call that dawn chorus.
Ese canto ese coro de los pájaros. Yes.
It's so beautiful.
Es tan hermoso. Muy lindo.
But you see, you're talking to me about Mr. Darcy, right?
Me hablas de Mr. Darcy.
Just across the other side of the river, there's a river below my house, right? And
hay un río incluso abajo de mi casa, y cruzándolo.
Just across the river, there is a big estate.
Yes.
A big estate with a huge, great big house and the ruin of the castle. Yeah?
Wow. Dice que solo cruzando ese río hay como toda esta estancia enorme que tiene unas ruinas de un castillo.
The family that lives in that house,
que la familia que vive en esa casa,
they are lords of the manor.
Son lords.
Sí. They are lord of the area. They are big. They were the big, very important men historically in the area. They were the in charge.
Estaban a cargo del área. Son como los lores del área.
Yeah. And that family has been in that house on that piece of land for 600 years.
Oh, y que dice que esa familia lleva 600 años viviendo en esa tierra, en esa casa.
And if you include a marriage 600 years ago, they have been there since the Norman conquest, 1066, right?
Wow. Dice que desde la conquista de Normandía, desde 1666, 1666.
Yes, it's 1066, 10.
And 1066, desde ahí que están. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it is wow.
Wow.
It is.
Wow. So we in our village, we still have Mr. Darcy. And I see him sometimes and I say hello to him.
Really? It's a really Mr. Darcy?
Well,
Darcy is the last name?
But he's aristocracy, you see.
Okay.
He's this level of society. I mean, he's a nice guy, he's friendly, but they're in charge. They're the
okay. Let me translate. Ella dice que incluso en su villa donde ella vive hay como un Mr. Darcy que tienen toda esta alcurnia y que ella cuando se los cruza tiene que hacer esta como hola, cómo le va y mantener esta forma. Wow, amazing.
But this is unusual. This is unusual, but that's where I live. Wow. You know, in London, in the cities, in Birmingham, in the towns, it's very, very different now.
Claro. Ella dice que hoy en día en lugares más cosmopolitas como Londres, Birmingham, ya no es así, pero bueno, donde ella vive justo, que es en el campo, en esta muy Orgullo y Prejuicio, es así.
When I was a child,
cuando era una niña,
the only pasta you could ever get was spaghetti and macaroni.
La única pasta que podías comer era espagueti o macaroni.
That was exotic.
Eso era exótico ya.
No Indian, hardly. No Indian.
Nada de indio.
No Chinese. None of all that, no pizza, nothing, almost nothing.
No pizza, no casi nada de comida diferente.
No. My father invited foreigners to our house. He was friendly with them because, and we had Italians coming to our house. Wow, we got Italians.
Dice mi papá en ese momento invitó a unos italianos a la casa, que como que era muy raro que venga gente de afuera. Es la época donde empieza a venir la gente de Inglaterra. Así que para ellos era muy era inusual.
But now it's multicultural, everything's there. Very multicultural, international community.
Ahora todo es multicultural e internacional. Okay, and now I want to direct you to our main thing here, because I want to hear the main theme of this talk is this woman who doesn't have boundaries. So my question would be, what did you do every time in your life that you found that you really wanted something, but you needed to struggle and had some difficulties? And how was your, I don't know, philosophy to overcome it? Like, what would you say to people, how to deal with obstacles? Entonces le estoy preguntando a Su que esta charla habla de cómo atravesar barreras, y le digo, ¿y qué hiciste en tu vida cuando tuviste obstáculos? ¿Cómo actuaste? ¿Qué filosofía tenés para avanzar?
To keep going.
Solo seguir andando.
To persevere.
Perseverar.
To stay true to myself.
Ser fiel a mí misma.
Something that my husband and I had, which was lucky, which was very fortunate.
Algo que tuvimos mi marido y yo fue mucha suerte.
Was that we both wanted to do things our own way.
Los dos queríamos hacer las cosas a nuestra manera.
Even if that was different to how
aunque sea diferente.
It. So we both allowed ourselves to do what we were passionate about and what we really wanted to do.
Los dos nos permitimos el uno al otro hacer aquello que le apasionaba a cada uno, aunque sean diferentes las posturas.
So we didn't conform.
No nos conformábamos.
So when my children were small and everything was getting very materialist.
Cuando mi hijo era chiquito y todo se transformaba en muy materialista.
And the children were in a society where they were judging each other by what toys they had.
Los niños en la sociedad en la que estaban, donde eran juzgados por qué juguetes tenía cada uno.
And what we had something called party bags. If kids went to a party, they got given a bag with things in it, material.
Yeah, we have same. Que dice que teníamos algo que se llamaba las bolsas de fiesta, que es cuando los nenes van a cumpleañitos y te dan la bolsita con las sorpresitas.
We hated that. We hated it. Because
odiábamos eso.
The children would arrive saying, "What's in our party bag?"
Llegaban diciendo los nenes al cumpleaños, ¿y qué hay en la bolsita para nosotros?
So we decided we weren't going to do that.
Decidimos no hacer eso.
And we moved to the north of England to a place, this was the TM community, where they didn't do that, where they were much more living human values.
Y así fue como decidimos con el tiempo mudarnos al norte de Inglaterra, a una comunidad que había de meditación trascendental, que vivían más acorde a valores humanos.
And everybody there were people who were making choices about how they wanted to live their lives.
Y ahí había mucha gente que decidía cómo quería vivir su vida.
And this was a very good environment for us to live and for our children to grow up.
Para nosotros ese fue un ambiente increíble para vivir y que crezcan nuestros niños.
So I think being true to yourself.
Así que creo que ser verdadero con vos mismo.
Not being afraid to be different.
No tener miedo de ser diferente.
But also being persistent and keeping going and keeping going and keeping going.
Pero al mismo tiempo ser persistente y perseverante y seguir hacia adelante, seguir hacia adelante.
but also with the practices and the knowledge and the wisdom and so on. Really,
Pero es muy importante ser práctico y también tener conocimiento y sabiduría.
yeah, I would say
Yeah,
that.
okay. Okay, and with Art of Living, I saw so many pictures of you with teaching your programs. Let me show to the people. And you were really a close one with Gurudev, that it's the guru. Que le digo a ella en el Arte de Vivir, siempre se la ve como muy cercana a Gurudev, como que viajó mucho y quiero escuchar algo de sus programas. I show some of your programs.
Yeah, okay, and I'll tell you about them. Just, yeah. Okay.
Este, por ejemplo, yeah, this one.
Well, this one is very close to my heart.
Este fue uno de los cursos más cercanos a mi corazón.
When I was asked to be a silence course teacher, this was
Cuando me pidieron ser instructora de cursos de meditación,
not even a fantasy I had had.
ni siquiera una fantasía que podía haber tenido.
I had never thought such a thing could even be possible.
No pensé que algo así podía ser posible.
I was astonished when he asked me to
Estaba
do it.
asombrada cuando me lo pidieron.
But it was amazing. It was just fantastic. So this course was my first course. My very
Este fue mi primer curso avanzado.
And it's in Croatia. It's by the
Es
sea.
en Croacia.
And so you can see the fun we're having. Everybody's laughing and joking and messing around. We're all having a good
Pueden
laugh.
ver cómo nos divertimos, todo el mundo se está riendo, bromeando, jugueteando.
So this was in September, end of September 2008, on the beautiful, beautiful Adriatic coast of Croatia. And those are lovely.
En la hermosa costa adriática de Croacia.
Yeah, so that's that one.
Okay, and let's go to this one. Also, time is kind of running out, so I want to go to this one.
This one was just in February. This was
Esta fue ahora en febrero, dice.
Just before lockdown and coming home for lockdown. This, I'm very much involved as a lawyer with a lot of organization things with Art of Living as well. So this was a meeting that I had with two other fabulous ladies.
Yo como abogada estoy muy involucrada con el arte de vivir y ayudo mucho en los asuntos de burocracia. Así que acá estaba teniendo una reunión con Ravi Shankar en febrero antes del confinamiento.
So this was a business meeting with Sri Ravi Shankar, and somebody sent me this picture. So the thing with Sri is you can actually get to talk to him and work with him. And he's I've always found him very easy to talk to, very straightforward. So we're talking business there.
Así que ahí estaba con Sri Ravi Shankar hablando de negocios. Yeah. Él es alguien con quien se puede hablar muy fácilmente de esto.
The elephant. Follow it with the elephant.
The elephant one. Y ella quiere mostrar.
There we go. Yeah. And so this was just after the meeting, just at the very end of the meeting.
Esto fue el final de la reunión que tuve con él.
And Sri has these fabulous elephants in the ashram.
Él tiene estos fabulosos elefantes en el ashram.
And the elephant boy brings them to him 2 or 3 times a day.
Y el chico del elefante se lo trae a Ravi Shankar 3 veces al día.
And he feeds them fruits. You can see there's the boy in the back has got a piece of watermelon.
Ahí se ve que el chico atrás está con un poco de sandía, yes.
So basically, Sri was saying, you want to feed him? Feed him. And so he was passing me all these big pieces of fruit. And it's the first
Así
time
que,
I ever fed an elephant.
así que ahí alimenté al elefante porque Shri me dijo, lo querés alimentar, alimentalo, y le empezó a dar sandía. Acá atrás vemos a nuestro Seba técnico, está el Tommy Todoli ahí. There's Tommy, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tomás.
The thing with the art of living, you never know what's going to happen to you next. And that was
Lo que tiene el arte de vivir es que nunca sabes qué te va a pasar después. Yeah. What would be like a message, just to say, what is Sue's message of art of living for the people, and also for people who haven't taken the program yet? ¿Cuál sería un mensaje que podés decir sobre el arte de vivir, incluso para gente que no tomó el curso?
My message is, it works.
Mi mensaje es, sí funciona.
Yeah, it works. If you simply have to engage with it.
Si tenés que solamente tenés que comprometerte con esto.
And it works all by itself.
Y funciona por sí mismo.
You just have to essentially follow the guidance. And it works. There's two magic words, which are puna punaha.
Y funciona, y hay dos palabras mágicas que quieren decir puna punaha.
And those two words are magic words for this.
Son mágicas.
It's again and again.
Es una y otra vez y otra vez.
And
eso quiere decir.
So this is the secret, is to keep going, to learn the practices, to do them, to again and again. And each time you do a course, you understand better, you get stronger in your practice, the experience goes deeper. And the thing is, what happens with these practices is you let go, you release stress.
Okay, I'll go until there. Y dice que entonces lo que tenés que hacer es practicarlas una y otra vez, y lo que van a hacer estas prácticas es te van a poner en tal lugar que te van a ayudar a liberar estrés. Yes.
You clear out old stuff,
limpias cosas viejas.
Emotional patterns. The body will release them.
El cuerpo va a eliminar todo ese bagaje emocional.
And basically, the combination of the practices, the wisdom, the practices and the wisdom, the meditation, the yoga, the wisdom in combination.
Yoga, meditación, prácticas.
With time.
Conocimiento.
And persistence.
Y persistencia.
They free you.
Con el tiempo te van a liberar.
Liberation. You know, it's an esoteric concept, liberation. What's liberation?
Yeah, it is liberación, same. Ese concepto, la liberación.
But you're free. What are you free of? You're free of your stress and your anxiety.
Te liberas de tu estrés, de tu ansiedad.
And all the rubbish that goes on in your head.
Toda la basura que está ahí en tu cabeza.
And little by little, all by themselves.
Y de a poco a poco, por sí mismo.
You find that these concepts like present moments or dispassion or whatever, they become real. They're real tools for you in your life.
Encontrás que estos conceptos como desapasionamiento o el momento presente se hacen una realidad palpable para vos.
And it's not so complicated, it really isn't.
Y no es tan complicado, realmente.
You have to follow the guidance.
Tenés que seguir estas guías.
And go for it, and it happens all by itself.
Seguí esta guía y movete hacia adelante y lo demás va a ocurrir por sí solo.
Because look, I've had burnouts and breakdowns. You know, I have burned out and broken down. Yeah, I have, because I was working too hard and it was all too much. Yes.
Yo sí tuve momentos como de caídas, porque tenía que trabajar mucho.
And yes, I'm afraid I have been divorced. It wasn't what I wanted, but it happened.
Y sí, estoy divorciada, no es lo que quería, pero bueno, ocurrió.
And I've had very difficult experiences.
Y tuve muchas experiencias difíciles.
Things. But what
Pero
happens is, the more you become familiar with this whole way of looking at life,
mientras más te familiarizas con esta forma de ver la vida,
the more you learn to let go of your stress,
más aprendes a dejar ir tu estrés,
the more you have the skills just to walk through these things
más habilidades tenés de atravesar estas cosas
and leave them behind.
y dejarlas atrás.
They're gone, they're gone, they're
Se
gone.
fueron, se fueron, se fueron.
And this doesn't mean that you don't care or that you don't feel. Of
Y
course
esto
you
no quiere decir que no te importa o que no sentís.
but you learn to let go of the negative things. And it happens.
Y ni siquiera tenés que esforzarte por dejar ir las cosas negativas. Vas a ver qué va a ocurrir.
So in the old days, if something distressed me,
Entonces,
if something upset me, I could be
si algo me molestaba,
I could be upset for days or weeks or months.
me notaba que estaba enojada por días, meses, semanas.
And this huge, great cloud and the whole thing.
Tenía unas nubes muy pesadas en mi cabeza.
But little by little,
Pero de a poquito, una y otra vez.
Now, if something comes,
cada vez que ahora algo viene,
it can upset me.
Me enoja,
me badly,
me eclipsa un poco.
And then it's gone. It's let go.
Y listo, se va.
I almost never wake up upset by something that had bothered me yesterday.
Que creo que ya, sorry, say it again.
So if I have something, so if I have something troubling me, really upsetting me,
algo que realmente me molesta,
it will usually go in an hour, maybe 2 hours.
Se va a ir en 1, 2 horas.
Or at worst, I might be,
en el peor de los casos,
maybe 3 or 4 hours.
3 o 4 horas.
But almost never.
Pero casi nunca.
The next day, it's gone.
El día siguiente. Ya el día siguiente no existió. Okay.
This is
so nice to hear it.
This
so
is
nice. Esto es la libertad, dice ella.
And free to be oneself. Have fun.
¡Libérense! Diviértanse. People is clapping over there too. Okay. Bueno, acá estamos llegando al final. Si hay alguna pregunta así muy, pero estamos como ya fuera un poco del tiempo. I want to thank you, I love you completely. Yo tomé un curso parte 2 con Sue en Nueva Zelanda y me enamoré perdidamente de ella y me hace reír totalmente, es fantástica. So really thankful for your time.
My pleasure, and lovely to be with you over there.
Dice, lovely. Muchas gracias. Mira, look, people is doing hearts.
I never got to Argentina, maybe one day.
No fui nunca a Argentina, quizá algún día. Oh, you know, I'll bring you. You know it. I will do it.
I'll come and teach you a course in Argentina if you like.
Yeah, we will. We will plan it.
When COVID's gone.
Yes, yes. Le digo que bueno, que vamos a traerla acá. Ramón, hay que... A ver. Bueno, lo que sí... Lo que quería avisarle a la gente es que, bueno, la semana que viene tenemos a Rueida Sami, ella es de Sudáfrica, también un instructor increíble como Su, y tiene una trayectoria incluso en tiempos de Mandela, estuvieron presos, bueno, no sé qué tan complejo es menos de lo que parece, pero es un mensaje sobre descubrir eh, la paz en la situación en la que ella vivió, y hoy en día es una instructora de parte 2 fantástica, así que los veo el domingo que viene. Gracias por acompañarme, por acompañarnos entre todos, viajamos juntos. Thank you so much, Sue. I love to be there in England. I have my Mr. Darcy over here, so I will not go for looking for it. Maybe a Jack Sparrow, though.
Maybe Jack Sparrow, yeah, okay.
Bueno, le estoy agradeciendo diciéndole que acá tengo mi Mr. Darcy, pero no mi pirata Jack Sparrow.
If you come,
bueno.
you come to see me, right?
Yes. Promise. Of course.
Totally.
Bueno, muchas gracias a todos. Chao.
Ciao.